everyone, it's Sarah. Today I'm going to be giving you my May wrap-up / obsessions and my June TBR. As far as writing goes, I wasn't actually that productive on my own writing. I edited a lot of different things this month, and I had a lot of freelance writing work where I was writing for people's websites and stuff like that. So I was working on all of that kind of stuff so much that I didn't actually get to work on my own novel that much. I did, kind of chip away at it a little bit every day, but I didn't get that much written total overall. I think it was probably maybe 10,000 words, maybe. At best. So I'm hoping I will do better with that this month. So instead of just telling you about the books that I read, I thought I would throw in a couple of other various things that I've been obsessing over, like music and TV shows, that kind of stuff. So I read a total of 7 books in May. I read Unravel Me by Tahereh Mafi, What I Know for Sure by Oprah Winfrey, The Walls Around Us by Nova Ren Suma, Days of Blood and Starlight by Laini Taylor, Ignite Me by Tahereh Mafi, The Odyssey by Homer, and Mrs. Frisby and the Rats of NIMH by Robert C. O'Brien. Alright, so my favorite books this month were The Walls Around Us by Nova Ren Suma. This is a young adult kind of mystery, thriller, creepy sort of ghost story. It's kind of like a combination of Orange is the New Black and Black Swan in a young adult form. I already did a review on this book, so I'm not going to say that much about it. I will link to that down below, so check that out if you want to hear more about this book. But I really loved this book. I read it straight through pretty much in one night, and I couldn't put it down. So definitely check this book out. I also really enjoyed Ignite Me by Tahereh Mafi. This was definitely my favorite book in the Shatter Me trilogy. I really loved the transformation of some of the characters, especially Juliet. I feel like she was a completely different person by the time the series ended as opposed to when it began, and Warner was also, maybe he wasn't different, but the way the reader saw him was different, and the way Juliet saw him was different. And I really enjoyed that. I can't say a whole lot more about this book without giving spoilers, but I thought it really wrapped up the series really well. And I think it was the best book in the trilogy. I guess it's more than a trilogy now because there are novellas. I might read the novellas. I don't know yet. We'll see. And my other favorite book that I read this month was Mrs. Frisby and the Rats of NIMH by Robert C. O'Brien. On my Pop Sugar reading challenge for the year, one of them was to read a book from my childhood. And I remember reading this book in childhood, and I remember really liking it. But as soon as I started reading it, I listened to it on audiobook. So as soon as I started listening to it, I guess, it was completely different from what I remembered. And just the process of kind of going back to something that I loved as a child and seeing it completely differently was really fascinating to me. Mrs. Frisby and the Rats of NIMH, for those of you who don't know, is about a field mouse named Mrs. Frisby, and her child is sick with pneumonia. So she has to go visit this group of rats to see if they can help her. And then she finds out that this group of rats is actually super intelligent because they were given injections in this lab to make them really intelligent, and now they can all read and they understand technology. And yeah, so they did a movie about this called, I think it was The Secrets of NIMH, maybe? I don't know. I definitely saw it when I was a kid, but I don't really remember it that well. But yeah, I just really enjoyed going back to this book and reading it from an adult perspective. And, there were some, patriarchal themes that I definitely wouldn't have noticed as a kid. like all of the male rats are all, you know, kind of philosophical and talking about how they can better society and all of these ideas for technology and things, and then she encounters this little girl rat, and the only thing she talks about wanting to do in the future is marry some guy rat. So, you know, just little things like that. But I think this book came out in the 70s. Pretty sure, so, you know. Anyway, I still enjoyed it. So, a couple other things that I've been obsessing over in the month of May is a band called Champs. Yeah, I just really love this whole album. It's called Vamala, something. I keep wanting to call it Valhalla. I don't, even though that's not what it is. But yeah, it was my birthday earlier this month, and a friend of mine who I've actually been friends with since we were 5 made me this really awesome mix CD with 25 songs representing our 25 years of friendship. So there was a song for each year. The song for 2015 was a song from this album, which I hadn't actually heard before she gave me the mix CD. Then I downloaded the album on iTunes and have basically been playing it all month. So yeah, you should definitely check these guys out because it's an awesome album. Another thing that I've been obsessing over in the month of May is the TV show Game of Thrones. I am a huge fan of Game of Thrones, and I, you know, have watched all 4 seasons, like, pretty obsessively, so I was really excited that the 5th season was starting. But this season has definitely been my least favorite of all of the seasons. I think that is kind of partly because it's based on the 4th and 5th books, which are kind of the weakest books by everyone's sort of assessment. But I was kind of hoping that they would take the good parts of the 4th and the 5th book and kind of just fill in the rest with, you know, more interesting stuff for the TV viewers. The problem with the 4th and 5th books is that George R.R. Martin, you know, need to invest in all these characters in the first 3 books. And then in the 4th and 5th books, he just brings in a whole bunch of new characters that you, like, don't really care about. So I knew that for the TV show, they weren't going to bring in all those new characters, and they were just going to take the characters that we were already invested in and focus on them, which they have been doing, but they've made a lot of decisions that I have been kind of mad about. They've made some decisions that have all of the feminists really pissed off, and then they made some storytelling decisions that I just don't agree with. So yeah, but I say that I've been obsessing over this anyway because, like, I will watch an episode and then it will make me really mad, and then I'll spend like 4 hours on the internet reading about other people who are mad about it. So I don't really know what that's about. Okay, so that was the month of May for me. Alright, so for June, I don't have like an official TBR for the month, but Shannon from Leaning Lights is doing a sort of read-a-thon called TBRtakedown. I will link to her video down below. It starts today, it goes June 1st through the 10th, and it's really kind of relaxed and informal, but she has these challenges that, you know, make it a little more interesting. So I have accepted the challenge and I'm going to try to read the following books. So her first challenge is a book that has been on your TBR shelf for over a year. So for this, I'm going to read Drinking with Strangers by Butch Walker. My mom and dad gave me this book as a present when I got my master's degree, which was in December of 2012. So I read like 70 pages and then I just never finished it. Even though I really enjoyed it, I don't know why I never finished it. Because Butch Walker he's a musician from Atlanta. Anyway, I've always been a huge fan of Butch Walker. So this is just like a memoir of, his experience in the music business and his, musical background growing up and everything. So it was really good when I started it. So I'm just hoping to reread the parts that I began and then actually finish this book. Her second challenge is an unread sequel book. So for this, I'm going to say Siege and Storm by Leigh Bardugo. This is the sequel to Shadow and Bone, which I read a while ago, and I really enjoyed it. I've had this book on my shelf for a while, and I just haven't picked it up yet. Her third challenge is a first book in a series. So for that, I'm going to begin the Lunar Chronicles with Cinder by Marissa Meyer. This is another book that I've had on my shelf forever, and so I'm just gonna get to it, and it's gonna be good. I'm excited. Her next challenge is a book that is out of your comfort zone. So for this, I'm going to say The Muses, edited by Gail Thomas. Now, my YA book actually used to be called The Muses. It's now called something else, not because of this, but anyway, it deals with a lot of the Muses. The first one doesn't really deal with the original Greek muses that much. I mean, they are mentioned, but it really gets into it in the second one. So I've been kind of reading more about the muses and Greek mythology in general. So I ordered this book. It's a book of academic essays about each of the muses. So I'm saying that it's out of my comfort zone because it is the more academic type book. And not that I haven't read a lot of academic essays, but I haven't read any academic essays since I was in college. Maybe grad school, I might have read a few. And the last challenge is a book from your most recent book haul. So for this, I chose the graphic novel that I just picked up called When I'm Old and Other Stories by Gabrielle Bell. I pretty much just picked this one because I thought I could probably get through it really quickly, and we'll see if I can get through the rest of these books in a week or 10 days or whatever it is. So definitely check out her video about the TBR takedown and participate if you want to. Make sure you use the hashtag TBRtakedown on Twitter or YouTube or wherever you talk about it. What about you guys? Well, how was your May, and what are you looking forward to reading in June? Have you read any of these books? Do you have any comments on these books? Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos about books or about writing. And thanks for watching. I will see you all next time. Bye!